Hello, everybody, and welcome to the February edition of the Hot and Bothered Effect podcast. Today, we're going to be discussing the upcoming Oscar ceremony in the Hot and Bothered Oscar Extravaganza. Now, with us on the podcast today, we have some very special guests. We have Jennifer Clary, Rosie Swan, and myself, Ray O'Brien. I assure you, we have only the finest experts in movies here with us. Rosie herself is a director and an actress, amongst other various former internship with the Academy itself. And Jennifer Clary also is working in the industry. She's worked for CAA, and she currently works for, you're going to have to help me out,
Davy Brown.
Davy Brown. All right, so we're going to get talking today about, we're going to start by discussing some of the major categories, who got nominated, who got screwed over, who we think should be nominated. Let's start with the Best Picture. First question about Best Picture, and anyone can chime in here. How do we feel about the move to 10? It used to be 5 Best Pictures, now they got 10.
I don't know. I feel like it's gone downhill. I mean, it's really opened it up, but I don't know that, it's quality. It's just quantity, in my opinion.
I like the 10. I feel like I would have been way more upset about movies that would have gotten shunned this year if it was only 5. Like, I don't know if Inception would have gotten in, which it definitely should have, because of some like the other categories. I don't know. I like the 10. I think it. I don't know. I think it opens it up and it upsets me less.
I agree. I think. I don't think we need 10, but I feel like if we didn't have 10, I feel like the wrong 5 would get the cut, is the problem. And I find it a little funny, because basically the reason we have 10 is 2 years ago, when they didn't have it, there were a bunch of movies that probably should have been Best Picture noms that got left off, mainly Dark Knight, WALL-E, and The Wrestler were 3 of them.
Yeah.
And this year, because we have 10, a Christopher Nolan movie, like The Dark Knight, Inception, a Pixar movie like WALL-E, Toy Story 3, and a Darren Aronofsky film like The Wrestler, Black Swan, are all getting in when those 3 very well might have been 3 of the 5 that got cut again. So I think it's working, and I'd like to see, I can't really tell from last year's, because it was basically a 2-horse race between Hurt Locker and Avatar, but I'd like to see how it affects the overall outcome if the votes are more spread out, and therefore, like, more diehard films get the win.
That's what I was just going to say. I was going to say, I bet you it becomes a closer race, because there's not as many, votes for one film.
Yeah, that's true. Well, also, I think the expansion, like you said, it's more for recognition of films rather than like expanding it to like 10 films in the running. I mean, it's still usually going to come down between 2, maybe 3, but it's just so that the recognition. But yeah.
All right. Let's go around and everyone say their favorite film that they'd like to win, and their least favorite film that they think shouldn't be nominated.
Ooh.
Jeez.
That's a hard one.
You want to start us out, Ray?
I'll start if you want.
Okay.
Obviously, I'm with Inception. Inception, I thought, was the best film. I love everything Christopher Nolan does. It was genius filmmaking. It was groundbreaking special effects. It led to a whole different kind of storytelling. And I think that it should easily win. In terms of, I'm not going to lie, I have seen every Best Picture nominee. I've seen all of them. And there aren't any that are bad, which hasn't been the case in past years. Cough, cough, Gosford Park. But The Kids Are All Right, I just found was a whole lot of nothing special. And I know it won the Golden Globe for Best Comedy, but it wasn't a comedy, really. It didn't make me laugh. I just thought, and I thought it wasn't without its merits, but I just thought that of these 10, it was the least deserving, and thought there were some other movies that definitely should be ahead of it on the pecking list.
I actually thought about this question earlier today because I figured you were going to ask it, and I was actually leaning towards Inception as well, even though it's not favored, really. It was probably the one that I enjoyed the most for different reasons. I mean, a lot of them, what you listed. I enjoyed the ones that are favored as well, but overall, acting and special effects and all that kind of thing, that was probably the one I enjoyed the most. I have not seen all 10 like you have, Ray. But the one that, yeah, and I agree that what I've heard of all of these is good. I don't know, Winter's Bone, I only watched the first half because I kind of got bored and I had other stuff to do. And I liked what I saw. I don't know if it deserves a Best Picture.
That's fair.
For me, it's really funny because I would say at the beginning of this week, I would agree with you guys. I would have gone with Inception for Best Picture, and I truly loved it. But I read an interview with Ryan Kavanaugh, and he was saying that he was like, Inception is great, and if you're talking about summer popcorn movies, Inception would be the one to go for Best Picture. But generally, the Academy goes for films more that that have a heart, and I see that, and I do like films that have heart, and this is a place, I guess, to recognize them because at the box office, Inception obviously is going to get recognized. So when it comes to those, obviously the two favorites are Social Network and King's Speech, and for me, I chose the King's Speech. I just honestly found the Social Network to be a little slow. Personally, I mean, from the the Harvard scene at the beginning where he's like walking through campus for 5 minutes, I was just kind of like, oh, pick it up already. So really enjoyed the King's Speech. I guess I would go for it as my favorite. And then in terms of my least favorite, I would have to agree with you guys. The Kids Are Alright was kind of a surprise. Just as I was watching these films, I was going, that'll be in there, and I didn't see it coming. After seeing the film, I was like, oh, it's an independent film. It was nice, and I just didn't see the Best Picture quality in it, I suppose.
It's kind of funny. I between Social Network and King's Speech, I thought the King's Speech was incredibly slow. I felt the opposite. I didn't really get bored in Social Network, but the King's Speech, but at the same time, that was a slower paced movie. Like, it was supposed to be that way. Yeah. I felt like the tone of it. But I did I appreciated King's Speech. I thought it was good. And I thought the acting was great, and it was what it was supposed to be. But I thought it dragged a little bit.
All right, and we're all welcome to disagree with each other's opinions.
Yeah.
I am going to disagree with Swan somewhat. I ranked mine 1 through 10, and Winter's Bone actually have as the 4th best.
For real?
Like, if I had to say...
Well, I didn't finish it, so,
yeah.
I mean, I feel it's a fair assumption.
If I had to say 5 of these were staying, that would be there. King's Speech would also stay in the 5 spot, but here's my issue. If King's Speech wins, I hope Kanye goes up there, rips the Oscar from them, and said, I hate to break to you, but Inception was one of the best films of all time. Because...
Do you feel like it had heart?
I felt it was emotionally resonant, if that's what you mean. I don't know what you mean by had heart. I felt it was emotionally resonant. I felt for him. I felt for his children, even though you barely get to see them. I mean...
And for a summer blockbuster, you don't really get that a lot. So
yeah, I felt for Crispin Glover's relationship with his dad and all that. Pete Postlewaite, rest in peace.
Crispin Glover? Cillian Murphy.
Cillian Murphy, what did I say?
Crispin Glover's George McFly.
You know what? They look alike.
Yes, they're like 20 years apart.
That was a slip of the tongue right there.
Willard.
I loved Inception. I thought it was smart, and I think in terms of original screenplay, it's top of my list. But I just don't know Best Picture.
I just think Inception's kind of the people's pick, in that if you look on IMDb, I think it's in their top 10 of all time. Mm-hmm. And I think that too often we try to get crafty with our Best Picture. And when we look back at it 20 years later, we go, what the hell did we do?
Yeah, I think Inception, I would pick that, but I don't think the Academy, per se, is going to pick that. I guess another question we could think is, what do we think will win?
Yeah.
I mean, because we just picked what we would like to see win.
Right.
But
it's like The Dark Knight all over again.
Yeah.
Inception is
the winner, by all prognostications, is a 2-horse race. Yes. You've got Social Network, you've got King's Speech.
Yeah.
Of the two, I'd like to see Social Network win, just because, and this is... I'm going to say that it's jingoistic, but it's true. I have trouble identifying with British people. I just do. I
can't believe you went there.
They confuse the hell out of me. I don't understand their system of celebrity. I don't understand their system of government. I'm not going to go into why I don't understand their system of government, because I actually talked about it in the last podcast, how it makes no sense to me whatsoever. I don't get...
Well, how does that and that completely affects your viewing of the King's Speech?
kind of does. I just don't see... Apparently, they're figureheads. Apparently, the royal family has no actual power. But they do.
Okay.
When Princess Diana cheated on Charles with that dude, that dude? I don't know his name.
Okay. These are quite some
He could have been tried for treason. Now, they didn't. But that's a treasonous offense. I'm sorry, but for cheating with the spouse, the consort of a figurehead, to be a treasonous offense means that there's some power within the royal family, whether or not it's acknowledged or not.
That's the strangest explanation I've ever heard, but it makes sense.
Well, let's put it this way. If I slept with Michelle Obama, the Secret Service would beat my ass, but there's no way they could take me in front of a court and try me for treason. Okay. It just couldn't happen.
Sure. Right. I'd like to see you try that.
Can we talk about Toy Story 3?
We can.
I mean,
is it fair? I don't think it's really fair to have them in both categories.
I think it's great.
Well,
Best Picture's Best Picture. I mean,
yeah, but then I would say leave it off the Best Animated Film.
No,
I don't know.
It's an animated film.
Well, look at Life is Beautiful. It's nominated for Best Picture and Foreign Film.
Yeah, I suppose. I don't know if I agree with that either, but that's how it works.
I mean, basically, it's just saying what it is. Is it the best film? Is it also the best foreign film? Is it the best film? Is it also the best animated film?
Well, because in theory, let's say the rest of the movies suck this year, and Toy Story 3 was Best Picture and it won both. That's not fair.
That's fair.
They're assuming that Toy Story 3 is not going to win Best Picture, so they're going to have, you know what I'm saying? And they're assuming, yeah.
But doesn't it go back to what you were saying about the 10 noms? It's about the recognition, not so much about the winning.
Yeah, no, I guess so.
And question about, you said something about Beautiful is nominated for Best Foreign Film, but isn't it the country that's nominated, not the film? I've read that somewhere, that it's actually Spain that's nominated. It's not.
It is technically Spain that's nominated, but that is every country gets one submission. Like, it gets one film to represent its film industry. So basically, it's the film. I mean, if we're going,
it's Spain,
yes, if we're going with the the technical version, it's Spain.
Right.
But I mean, Spain's got to submit one film, and that was their film. So basically, that's what they have. That's their horse in the race.
Interesting.